Field trips are always fun, or at least a nice change of scenery. Nigel insisted that to properly understand design, we needed to understand how you achieve the end result and go to a real live print shop. Finally, he said something I actually agreed with. He didn't say where we were going, but assured us that we'd all think it was the cat's ass and it was owned by a friend of his. So we were on our way. However, as you may recall, I already knew a thing or two about printing. I'd been in and out of print shops my entire life because my dad had been a professional printer since before I was even born. He started as a stripper. Yes, that's the actual title, which I delighted in telling my grade school teachers. And that's basically the human version of Photoshop before Photoshop. When we moved to Ontario, he got a job at a company and quickly proved himself indispensable, but much to the chagrin of his boss. Also, quite ethical. One day his boss demanded that he lie to a client to cover for a problem rather than explain things properly to the client, and my father refused. And with that, he found himself no longer in the boss's favor. They tried to make things difficult for him, but he refused to budge. Finally, he went to his boss and said, "Look, I ain't gonna quit, and you can't fire me. So this is what it's going to cost to make me go away." My father, however, had seen the writing on the wall for some time and already had a new job lined up. For 6 months, he had 2 salaries and his original benefits package, and even better, he kept in touch with his old employees and learned that it took 2 men to do what he used to do alone. His boss was a crook, but he got what he deserved. And as we rode up the Don Valley Parkway on the way to our field trip, suddenly it dawned on me that I'd been this way many times, but only ever going to one place. Surely, though, it was a coincidence. There had to be 100 print shops in Toronto. It's not No, there it is. Okay, same place. As we went in, I asked the secretary, "Hey, does that fuck Tardy Shitcock still run this place?" And she's like, "Mr. Shitcock does, yes. Of course. Nigel and my dad's old boss were friends. They were 2 shits cut from the same turd. Like, fuck this, I'm going to the mall." Eventually, though, I did have to head back to the bus, and people were like, "Dave, where'd you fucking go?" And Nigel's like, "Yes, Dave, I couldn't help but notice that blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Yeah, Tardy Shitcock runs that place, and he's a huge asshole." And he's like, "Oh, so you have a personal difference, I get it." And I'm like, "No, there's no personal difference. He's just a huge fucking asshole." So that felt pretty good. Then later I saw my dad, and he was like, "Oh, are they still using that old 6-color Heidelberg?" Fucking losers. Anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is you got to enjoy the small victories, you know? That's what makes it all worthwhile.